Hey guys, I was testing my newly acquired workshop sharpening knife system, which is this. I don't know if you can see it from there. It's this setup here. Uh, and then I wasn't doing that well with it. I started taking out some of my knives. I got the knives there, and I got knives of all sizes. This setup, I'm not gonna say it's a bad setup. It's got some flaws in the design, and I'm gonna point this out for the designer of this system, that it has some little problems that you have to solve if you want to continue selling this this sharpening system. The okay, let me take this off. The uh, the wheel, the tightening wheel, it's got very short little lugs. It should be a little taller because once you tighten it, then I got to put my nail in there to crank it, and so it needs a bigger. Let me take this. It needs a bigger body, a wider bayonet that inserts into that. Maybe that's got to be bigger also, yeah. So it can allow for a bigger wheel. But I think even with a bigger wheel, you're still going to have some issues. I will come up with another setup. I will come up with one that you have an Allen wrench and you really can crank it sideways or down, right? So if you put the knife in there, you need to turn it and then you can really tighten it, because this knife, which is not a big deal, it keeps slipping off. And I'm going gentle. I'm going to show you. I'm going to tighten it. And it's easier when it's off, right? And you should do it when it's off, because once it's in there, then you're going to have more difficulty in tightening. So right now, I'm at this point, top and bottom, that I don't really have much to grab. So this thing has to have a little taller, but I would prefer it to be an Allen wrench. If you have some sort of system that you can just turn it, crank it really hard, and then insert it so you can do the thing. But you notice that I tighten it all I could, and look, once you start grinding into it, let's get this one here. Um, it starts, because you have to have the knife more or less where it begins the blade, because it's a longer handle. Some handles are shorter. This is also the same thing. If you have it in biting here, you're going to have more weight towards the handle. So I put it here. Now if I insert it, say, a little further out, let's say here, now the knife is okay. Knife is like that. You pop it in. The magnetic insert, it helps, and then you start doing your thing. But as you go, right, and some people saw it up and down and they do things. All right, as you go, the knife starts slipping out, slipping out, slipping out, and it'll become like this. So then the other issue, that it's also a bad design, are these little guide clips here. Very thin, very narrow, and that could just chip off and break eventually. If the system, and this is the one that holds the let's call this the bayonet. It holds it straight because it has a little nub here, and that piece has a little canal, so it inserts it. So that's another issue right there, that's a breaking point. It is not strong at all. That could break within, if you use it a lot, that could break within days of buying it, or weeks. Um, and then the other issue is that I have different size of knives. I mean, I got this one. This is fine for this. It's little one. Then I have like a buck. Okay, it doesn't hold the 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 beak, it can't hold this too tight because it's a wide backing. So that's another issue. You can't use it on every size knife. And then if you want to use it on your camp batoning or a camp knife, it's difficult to sharpen because the blade is so long. And then let me see, I haven't tried it to be honest, but let's say that the blade is there, and then yeah, I guess you could do that, but the angle, it's not really getting it. Then you have to crank it up. It's, I don't know. It has some small issues that they're fixable. This is not a throwaway issue here. It's fixable. Another issue that I'm having is the stone size. So I first started sharpening the pocket knife, and I was making it worse and worse and worse. And I said, well, what am I doing wrong? I kept adjusting the thing up and down. And I said, you know what? I'm going to bring out my old stone. And see, you can't turn this in here because it's kind of tight, and I have a small hand. Somebody with a big hand, which there are a lot of hunters with big hands, you can't get your hand in there, so you got to pop it out. And every time you pop it out, you have you're going to have a problem that you might break the little side piece that I mentioned. Okay, so what I did, I brought out my system, which it has the Arkansas and it has the red diamond and the yellow. The yellow is the coarser. I was watching some people sharpen their knives on regular stones, and I noticed that I was doing it like a barber. I was doing this, like when they do the stropping. Okay, so I started doing it like you guide it, right? You guide it like that. I'll put it back over here, like that, and then you guide it back and forth. And I have this little plastic. This is a joke. I really don't see the advantage, but what it does, it gives you an idea what the angle should be, and then you just put that in there, let it rest, and then you follow out, and then you memorize it. So on the way back you can do the same, and then you do the same. Well, I started doing that, and I did get an edge on my knife that I tried for a good 20 minutes with this system, and I just couldn't do it. So with this one, I can cut paper. Now I can't do the Japanese cut that I tried. He went like this, and then he went sideways, and it was just silk. It just went, you know. I can't do that. But I said, you know what? If I can get an edge on this knife, which is not the highest quality knife, CB 4121, made in China. Okay. If I can get an edge on that knife, I can get an edge on most of the knives that I have, because I was doing it wrong on my stone here. This is another little pocket knife that I have that I haven't used this in a long time, but it's sharp enough to cut paper. Okay, and also then I have these are my actually backpacking knife, which I love this knife. And I don't like to love items, I love women. This is an AUS 8 stainless, and then it's called a swing blade because you push it and you can open up open up the skin from the stomach with this part, which is very sharp. I'm not even going to try to sharpen it. The thing is razor sharp. So, and let me see if this I can shave. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So this is pretty sharp also. And with the workshop system, yeah, you can probably work it because it's not that big of a blade. But I'm not going to have a system that I can only work on the small knives. I got another knife as big as this one. It looks like a Rambo knife, like that. This is 10-inch. And this is, I used to have a Ontario, and I sold it because what do I need all these? You know, it had a big thick backing, and you can baton with it. It's a camp knife. And then I got my preferred, never been used knife. This is the blackjack. I don't even why I have to read it. There's only one knife like this. And as far as shaving, yeah, yeah, it shaves. And then if I want to strap it, let's see, there's a little strap around here. I think it's this one. I have a big strap in the drawer. It's like that, about 10 inches. So I said, you know what? I don't really need this system. I'm going to return it. I'm going to learn how to work it on this. Now, another thing is that this system, even though it's small, but it's not that small, it comes in this case, and it's a little big for me. This system comes in this box, and I can just tuck this anywhere behind the seat of the truck, under the seat of the truck. That one doesn't do it. Now, I do need a portable. I'm not going to take this in the truck. This is basically here. Seeing one that is made by the same company, workshop, that it's a little thing like this, and then you can do the stone, you can do the strapping. It's got the little angle thing on the side like this, one on each side, so you can just, you know, follow that, and it'll help you sharpen the knives. Yeah, this one. So I said, you know what, it's a good system. It has some small issues that they're fixable. I'm not saying that this is a throwaway piece, but it's not the better setup for moi. I seen videos, and I even wrote to the guy that did a review on this, and he says, well, you need to practice. And I said, well, but if it's so well designed for giving you a razor sharp knife that you can shave your arms and everything, how come it hasn't done it? And I worked on one knife for half an hour, and I just couldn't get it. I worked on this one, and I worked on the buck, and I just couldn't get it. I did it. I went through all the stones, and I just couldn't get it. And I was trying different angles, and then I kept looking to see if the stone is actually on the very edge, and I just couldn't get it. So I'm just gonna put it back together. I'm gonna clean up the stones with a little alcohol or something. See, like that. I'm gonna clean that up so it looks better, and then I'm just gonna return it to Amazon, because I am not really satisfied with the system. It's got some small problems. I like the adjustability. I like that. But when I was working on this knife, it kept creeping down because of the movement. It kept creeping down, creeping down, creeping down. So it crept down like 3 degrees, but it doesn't really lock on too tightly. Another thing I was kind of studying, because there's a guy in the gun shows. This guy has a little sharpening thing like this. So first, he runs it through the other, I forget the name of the thing, but you run it through here a few times, 3-4 times, and that kind of straightens up and sharpens the edge, and then he finishes it up with the little stone at the end, the Arkansas, I think it's an Arkansas, and he just goes like this, and then he gets a piece of paper, and I'm going, wait a minute, you mean to tell me that you can get it that sharp that quickly with that? And everybody's buying them. I don't know, he sells them for, it's a little thing like this, and he does a pretty good job with it. So I'm going, you know what? Maybe I'm doing this wrong. I don't need to have this big setup. I can have this so I can do some sharpening at home, and then when I go out in the mountain, then I can take something portable and something that I could do, something simple. And maybe I'll buy the little, I'm gonna look into the workshop, the yellow one, and then I'm gonna look into the little one also. That's not that costly. You can carry that in your top pocket, and when you have a need to sharpen a knife, just take it out and run it through that thing a couple of times, and you get it going. When I changed the way of sharpening with this stone here, I noticed that the knife came back a lot quicker because I was doing it. I was really, paying attention what I was doing. Before I was just doing this and like that, and every time you move your hand and you change the angle, you're messing it up already. So it got sharper. And with this one, I started working at it more and more. And you don't have to do a lot of force or anything. Just. So I said, I already have this, and I'm getting some results. I'm just going to return this system. It cost me 100 and well, let's say 100 with taxes, 143, and so I tried it a long time, and I tried it with this one also. This one had an edge already because I worked on it on this stone, but this edge is not as fine as that one. I don't think it can cut paper. Let me see. Oh, okay, it does. I had to work on it more with this one here, and just pay attention to what I'm doing. And I do need to get some more what do you call it, honey solution. The guy told me that I wrote to him and I said, look, I worked with this system, and he said just practice and pay attention to the angle, and he gave me some advice. But today I sat down before bringing out the camera, and I worked on this knife on that knife I worked for more than about half an hour. I just couldn't get anything. And I went through all the stones, including the stropping. I couldn't get it. So I don't know. I know it's me. But if I'm not getting, it's supposed to be an easy thing. If I'm not getting the results that I was expecting, that I could shave my arm, then I don't want it. Because another thing is that with a big knife you need a big stone. Those little things, I don't like the idea of what I seen, that some people are sewing with it and they go, and I'm going, what? You're supposed to have a nice fluid, but they were kind of sewing on it, and I'm going, eventually you're going to have a little canal if you do that. And I just didn't like that, the size of the stones. No. Now there's another system that is very similar to this one, and it's $250 something. That's way, I'm not a professional knife sharpener. I don't need to buy something so expensive like that. But what it is, it's a setup that it's all metal. Big plus right there. And then you bolt it onto your table. It has an Allen wrench to bite to tighten the beak, and you can flip it easily. Like I said, this here, that's gonna be an issue in the future, guys. If you're the guys selling this stuff, gotta make this a little beefier, little wider. It doesn't have to be as long, but it has to be beefier so it doesn't snap, because it will, guarantee you. Especially when the plastics gets a little old. Let's say you have it in a hot garage storage and the garage is hot and that starts cooking, it'll just fall apart. It has to be made out of either stronger plastic or make it bigger. And change the way you tighten this thing. This wheel is not doing it. Not doing it. All right, guys. That's all I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna put it away, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.